97.7 Dundalk FM.
Town Talk.
Yes, that's a wonderful sound there of Tommy Keys featuring Dara MacGabhann and We've Got Time. And if you're listening to that on the repeat tonight, I was just saying about 11:30, that's probably a beautiful song to be listening to at 11:30 as you're winding down after a long hard day. And I'm delighted to say we're joined by Dara MacGabhann and Caoimhe O'Dwyer. You're very welcome.
Thank you.
And we're going to talk about your project, Awash With Colour. But Dara, maybe you might just give us a little bit of an inside story there on that song, We've Got Time with Tommy Keys.
Thanks. You're very good to play it. Yeah, that's Tommy Keys there. He's a very accomplished musician, and I would have met him up at Darky Kelly's in Dublin, where he runs a singer-songwriter night. And from that then he asked would I just be on his album, featured on his album. So that's Radio Days, and then I'm also on his next album that's coming out soon, which is, I think it's Story Time, something like that, or
right.
Story Tales or something, I can't remember, but I'm on both anyway.
So you've been working away with the music recording through lockdown. Yeah, and it's lovely to collaborate with other artists as well. It's lovely to be asked. And speaking of collaboration, of course, Awash With Colour, which is all about collaboration. So you tell the story of Awash With Colour, because you both represent different organisations in different places, and you got together. You tell the story.
Yeah, I get Caoimhe will start the story because she came up with the idea.
So the idea of our collaboration came during lockdown, and we were looking for new projects with I'm with a group called Artists Exchange, AAEX, that are based in Dundalk. It's a group of artists that meet and make art together. So anyway, I proposed this idea. It was an idea I've had. I saw this really interesting documentary about the Great Book of Ireland years ago that was commissioned in 1989 about a collaboration between artists, visual artists and writers in Ireland. So that was commissioned by UCC, and that's where it lives now. And it just everybody liked the idea, and we were looking for a group to collaborate with, and this is where Julie Corcoran came in. She's a great pal of Dara MacGabhann, and she was the one who connected the two groups, and Dara loved the idea. She represents a group called MOPOSOGS, Monaghan Poets and Songwriters Group, and that's when it started back in May 2021.
So go over to you, Dara. When MOPOSOGS, the Monaghan Poets Songwriters Group, got the approach, this novel idea about collaborating, what was your reaction?
Well, we're always up for the challenge, you know. we're always up, and they all love to perform and to write. So we're a collective of writers, poets, and some of them are short story writers, and we're on the go since 2010. So we're kind of very well established, and I just lead the group. I don't say I'm their chairperson or whatever, I just lead it. So I was asked anyway, would we like to collaborate with AAEX, and of course we said yes. So what that entailed was a lot of Zoom meetings.
I was just going to say, the times we're in it, that was a challenge in itself.
Exactly, it was. But it started with, I suppose, ourselves, myself and Caoimhe and Julie and Bernhard, and there was a few of us met to just decide what we do. So basically what happened was every artist submitted one piece, and randomly I got the pieces and dished them out to our ones, and each writer got a visual.
And your ones again are
piece.
Songwriters and poets.
So
writers,
they contributed one piece and gave it over to the artists. So what you had was, like, every artist had two pieces. Then one was the one they gave, and one was then they wrote something to match what was given from the writers, and we did the same. We had something then to match then what they gave, you know.
And,
so
and when you were exchanging the pieces of art or writing, was there a consideration given to who would fit best with who, or was it just random?
Completely random. I think Caoimhe did it alphabetically. I did nothing. I just had them on a list. There. You know, everybody was ticked off.
I think it did have to be random though, because you couldn't be playing favourites and saying, this should go to such and such a person. You know, you have to be objective when you're in this type of a role. You know, you can't play favourites. So I am very.
It must have led though to some very interesting pairings.
Absolutely.
Pairings you'd never have imagined, perhaps.
And fantastic results, really.
Yeah, and I know, because one of ours was kind of saying, like, one of your artists, Niamh O'Connor, who I know very well, she does beautiful abstract, and one of our writers was saying, oh, don't give me Niamh, because he was terrified he'd get an abstract and he wouldn't know what to do. Yeah. But in actual fact, I got her. This is the gas thing, so it just ended up that different people got different things. And and amazing pieces of work came out of it. Amazing songs, amazing artwork. When you see it, I mean, that's the beauty of being able to then exhibit that. Yeah. Not only did we do, but we had it on the Zoom meetings. We had about 3 or 4 Zoom meetings of 2 hours long where we shared the work, and people were blown away. There was tears, there was laughter, there was people just aghast at what came back at them, that somebody was inspired that much by their work. So if I wrote something and somebody painted beautiful pictures, which many people did, you were just aghast that they could do that from something you've written. And likewise then, it was the same backwards.
We were lucky to have some of the pairings here in the studio here on Dundalk FM.
You were amazing. You were amazing, Pat. The amount of interviews we got from Dundalk FM.
It was great that you came in and shared the stories. And I was amazed by what was in front of me and the inspiration that each was giving to the other and what they came up with. And sometimes what was in the writing or what was in the piece of art, whatever it was, the other person got it without having been told, if you know what I'm saying. It mightn't have been obvious to everybody, but the other artist seemed to delve into it and find the hidden story almost.
Yeah. Really hit something there, because we just gave a title with the visual art. We didn't give any written background. We didn't give any biography of the artist. So it really was the interpretation of whoever received the work. And that was the wonderful thing, wasn't it, Dara?
Yeah, it was. And sometimes they were bang on. I mean, completely. Like I was talking about Niamh, and like that, she said, "You nailed it. That's exactly what I was feeling." So that there's that kind of, or people.
Is that something that if you're creative, you have that streak in your mind?
It's nearly intuition.
Is it?
Yeah. Oh, I think so. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it probably is. Yeah, could be. But it was amazing the way the whole kind of interpretations, and sometimes the interpretation might be slightly off, but it still fit. Like it'd be something. I know I had one with is it Aideen who had the spirit vessel, and like that, it was about birth. And I saw it about death, and so my song was more
close.
Yeah, but it was just, but it was more about a secular kind of interpretation.
Life,
yeah, exactly. So it sort of fit in, did for me anyway.
Uncanny. Absolutely uncanny.
Yeah, so there was lots of that. And then the other thing just to mention, we had Enda Riley is a member of our group, and he's over in Michigan. And that was just amazing, because he came in on the Zoom, because you can when you're doing Zoom. But I know when we had the interviews, you also were very accommodating, and we had him coming in for an interview with Bernhard. All the pairings. Yeah. And all of those are on our website. So anybody who missed all of those wonderful radio interviews that we had on Dundalk FM, they're all on the Awash With Colour website. So
you can listen back and hear the story. Yeah. Brilliant.
Yeah, and hear those matchings and how they were so amazing.
So moving on slightly, so you had all the pairings, you had all the wonderful work that was done by the various artists in both AAEX and MOPOSOGS, and then you exhibited it down in Blaney, is that right?
At Aontas.
Yes. And the exhibit, from what I can recall, it was almost a living exhibition. Can you tell us how you exhibit it, because you've got different forms of art in the one place, how it came across to the person that was going to visit the exhibition?
So, well, by the end of our project, we had over 90 pieces of original art, and then we had to decide how we were going to exhibit this. Dara was the one who secured Aontas gallery and theatre, and they have a huge big lobby and an exhibition space, so all the artwork was hung with the corresponding written work beside it. Then the other thing that we have to add in is that Andy put all the written work up onto SoundCloud, so all the performers performed their work, and there is a QR code that you can download on your phone, bring your headphones, and this will be the same at An Tain, and you will be able to listen to the written work while you are looking at the visual art.
That is, it's just amazing. So you're using technology very much enhancing the art, and I suppose bringing the person even deeper into whatever's on display.
Yeah, and it is really important because the pieces are joined, they're tied together. And on next Wednesday we are having our lunch at An Tain, so we will be having our opening of the exhibition with live performances from MOPOSOGS. And if you can't make it to the opening, you can still hear the performances when you click into the
so every night's an opening night, basically.
that sounds
you can't beat live performance, though. Let's face it. Come to the launch. Come to the launch.
Worth it all. You can't rerun it again now. Okay.
Yeah.
So you obviously then have some experience of intus as to how the performance, the live the recorded performance, the QR and all those, how that worked. I mean, what was the reaction of the public when they went to visit Intus?
Oh yeah, they came along with their little earbuds or their headphones, to do that. I think mostly the people did that afterwards as well. They were saying that they came along and they scanned it and had a listen, because you can read it, but it's not quite the same as you can read it, but you can listen to the actual person who wrote the piece, So
you listen to the author.
So there's great response to the performances on that night. At that time, it was lockdown. I think we were restricted in our numbers in the theatre. We had been allowed a certain amount, and then it was restricted down to a third of the theatre. But we had a third of the theatre full. So at the time.
So going then on to An Tain. So the exhibition is coming. Awash With Colour is coming to An Tain. You're not restricted, I presume, this time?
No, but we are in the small studio auditorium
downstairs.
Yes, exactly. Downstairs in the basement is going to be the gallery where everything is, and then we will have that for an hour or so. We'll have a bit of a drinks reception. Then you come up into the small theatre where MOPOSOGS 10 members will be there. They're coming over from Monaghan, and they will be performing some of the pieces that are on display.
And the performances, will it be song? Will it be poetry? Will it be
both?
All?
Yes, right. Both. Yes. So we will have both. Whatever was already in the exhibition, just those ones.
And when you're putting 10 artists like that together with various different things going on, how do you work it as a sort of a show, if I can put it that way?
So what we have is behind them will be displayed. In fact, all of the visual art will be displayed behind the performers.
Brilliant.
So as it's coming up, so for instance, we'd say one performer would get up. They might have done 2 or 3 pieces, and behind them will be the visual art, and it'll stop behind them while they are performing the visual art that they wrote the song for, or that the art piece was created for, will be behind the performer.
Brilliant.
So that you can see it, you're listening, you get the whole feel. It's like very 3-dimensional. You're listening, you're looking, but you're also feeling the whole vibe of the two together.
Your mind is racing as well, and you're connecting the pieces and saying, now I see what that's saying.
Exactly. We're going to do it slightly different for An Tain, because it's a small theatre as well. I think what we're going to do is all 10 of us are going to be on stage together, and then we'll just come forward and perform, rather than all this up and down, because we literally have the hour and we don't want to spill that over. So
the An Tain, what time? Just give us the hard facts of it.
Okay, so the launch starts at 7 p.m. Downstairs in the basement gallery, and then we will move upstairs to the small studio auditorium, and performance start there at 8 p.m.
I'm sorry, what day is it again?
Wednesday.
On Wednesday
the 3rd of August.
Right, okay. And is it going to then remain for a couple of days?
Well, the exhibition will be on until the 27th of August, so
brilliant.
We have 4 weeks. Yeah. So if you can't make it to the opening next Wednesday, please come along, bring your earpods or your earphones, and come and see the exhibition, and listen to.
Yeah, you have to download that scanner, the QR scanner.
A lot of people will have it already.
Yeah, a lot of people do. Yeah.
But obviously the launch will be the live MOPOSOGS, so that's sort of a special attraction. But it's there then for quite a number of weeks indeed, for people to drop in at any time.
4 weeks, just drop in, and you're not missing the songs or the poems, kind of the live version, if you like.
And it sounds like a very absorbing sort of way to pass an hour or so, just to pull in off the street there, pop in your earphones or whatever you have, and listen and read and enjoy. And
it really was a very uplifting project to do during lockdown, at a time when, I think we even find it hard to relate to now, because most of us are back to normal life. And it was a time, the last time we came in here for interviews, we were all masked up.
Yes,
there was, all the restrictions were in place, and a lot of us were, artists and performing artists were, so badly hit by the pandemic. Work came to a stop. Theatres were closed, galleries were closed. So it really was a great way for us to come together.
Yeah.
Remotely.
Right.
And since then, lots of people from the two groups have stayed in touch. New friendships have formed.
Well, Caoimhe, that kind of makes me think, Awash With Colour, An Tain now, that's kind of putting the cap on what was a brilliant project. But is there an Awash With Colour 2?
I don't think so. I think this is it for this one. I think it'll probably be something different.
Right.
We've had it in Castleblaney, which is the Monaghan end of it.
Yes.
And now we're going to have it in Dundalk. So I think the two groups are Dundalk and Monaghan. So that was, we're happy. I think we're really, that'll be.
Yeah, I think Artists Exchange are really proud to have the exhibition back in Dundalk, where we live and practice. We started a number of years, 5 years ago. Bernard Gall and a couple of other members started Artists Exchange, and with the support of Sarah Daly from Creative Spark. So it is just lovely that we're going to be able to bring it back to where the roots of
Absolutely.
Artists Exchange.
I'm going to just ask both of you, your respective organisations, are you open to new artists, new members? And if somebody out there is listening or going to the exhibition would like to join up, what's the story? Always
open. So with MOPOSOGS, we're Monaghan Poets and Songwriters. We meet every first and third Wednesdays in the Market House in Monaghan. And just a word of thanks to them as well. They give us that premises. We're not a class. People sometimes think they're coming to a writer's class. We are just a group that share and learn from each other. And it has been hugely successful. Yeah. We've just produced a book there as well under Monaghan Libraries, and Tales of Ourselves it's called. So that was with some other writers in the county. So we're always open for new ideas, new projects and new people.
Brilliant. And AAEX?
Well, we are Artists Exchange is an open, all-inclusive group of visual artists who come together for the sake of art. So that's quite open, and the projects that come out of Artists Exchange are quite varied, and everybody that joins usually brings something to the table, and it doesn't always emerge straight away. I was in the group for quite a while before I was leading a project, so sometimes it takes a while for you to figure out what you want to do, but it's a super group and everybody's so supportive of each other, and that's really what you need to make for your work to flourish. I think it's
it sounds like you're both great organisations facilitating artists and different types of artists in the respective art. So just again, I'm going to play a song now. I'm going to ask you, Dara, to tell us a little bit of a song, but the opening night is happening on August 3rd, 7 o'clock in An Tain, and it's running then for weeks thereafter, so you can go in and bring your earplugs along. Dara, we have a song lined up here, and I'm trying to remember the name of it, but yes, I see it, Slave to the Moon,
lovely.
251. Can you tell us something about the song?
251s is my two-piece band. It's myself and Andy Hogg, who is also a member of MOPOSOGS, and Slave to the Moon. We brought it out quite a while ago. There's a nice video on YouTube if anyone wants to look at it. It's a local guy, Hugh McCluskey, did the video for us. So it'll be on our next album. Thank you.
Here we go. Thanks very much.
97.7 Dundalk FM.
Town Talk.